Good morning, it's 8 o'clock. This is Sunrise. Our top story today, Britain under attack. Hello, good morning. You're watching Sunrise here on Sky News. I'm Sarah Jane Mee. The organisation which guards the UK from cyber attacks has warned that it's almost inevitable the country will be hit by a life-threatening incident. This is because of a dramatic increase in the number of attacks. Well, the National Cybersecurity Centre added that it believes the majority of attacks can be traced to hostile nation states. Our technology correspondent Roland Manthorpe has this report. Also this morning, the US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has arrived in Saudi Arabia to meet King Salman. This is over the case of missing journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Mr. Khashoggi, who is a leading critic of the country's crown prince, vanished after he entered the Saudi consulate in Istanbul 2 weeks ago. Well, Turkish officials believe he was murdered there, and last night police searched the building. President Trump has speculated that rogue killers could be responsible. From the Saudi... Well, let's speak to Sky's diplomatic correspondent Dominic. He is in Riyadh this morning after his report there. And Dominic, the president has been speculating as to what might have happened. He sent Mike Pompeo there. What key questions will he be asking?
Well, it's hard to say.
Thank you, Dominic, following that story from Riyadh for us today here on Sky News. Now, it's set to be another difficult day for the Prime Minister. She's facing her cabinet this morning amid revelations that a few of them met secretly last night over a pizza to discuss how to stop her Brexit plans. Let's head to Westminster and speak to Sunrise's political correspondent Tamara Cohen. So the plot thickens, Tamara.
Hi, Sarah Jane. Yes, it does.
Thank you, Tamara Cohen at Downing Street for us this morning, awaiting those cabinet arrivals. Just a quick reminder, Sky News is campaigning for an independent commission for leaders' debates at general elections. If you want to join the campaign, sign the petition. Head to skynews.com/makedebateshappen, and you can support the campaign online as well. On social media, use the hashtag #MakeDebatesHappen. We're taking a look at the petition right now. So far, over 38,000 of you have signed up. As I said, hashtag #MakeDebatesHappen. Now, claims of serious sexual harassment and bullying in the House of Commons. Neil has more details on that for you. Hi, Neil.
Hi, Sarah.
Now, you may remember Theresa May's promise to end austerity by 2022. It seems this morning that promise is in danger of backfiring. According to the Institute of Fiscal Studies, that will need to raise an extra £19 billion a year to end austerity, and that could mean hefty tax hikes. Well, joining me now from Westminster, Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Peter Dowd. Good morning to you, Mr. Dowd.
Good morning.
Now, the Prime Minister declared austerity was over and told the public their hard work has paid off. It seems she hadn't quite done the calculations behind that promise.
Well, no, she hasn't.
Wants to end austerity. It is up to the Chancellor and the Treasury to balance the books. That's going to leave some tough choices for the Chancellor in the forthcoming budget, isn't it? What choices is he going to make, do you think?
Well, it's very difficult to know what choice.
£19 billion a year is a pretty big rabbit to pull out of a hat. And the IFS is saying that is the minimal definition of what is needed to end austerity, as the Prime Minister has put it. So let's face it, if the Chancellor wants to fulfil the Prime Minister's promises, he's going to have to put taxes up.
Well, that's...
OK, if tax rises aren't on the table from Labour's point of view, what would Labour do then to come up with this £19 billion a year?
Well, we set aside...
Did Brexit into your figures? Because, of course, there is all this talk about the Brexit dividend. The IFS is saying there's no evidence that there will actually be one. And Brexit could cost the country in terms of just one thing, which is a hot topic at the moment, new border guards, for example, which would cancel out any money that's got back from the EU.
Look, the issue...
Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury, I'm looking at the front page of the newspapers, I'm looking at the front page of the Eye in particular, and that rather damning report into the culture at Westminster. MPs groped, abused, and people are bullied in the House of Commons. Is that a culture you recognise?
Well,
If it is happening, the report says most definitely it is. Who is it up to change that culture? Is it up to MPs like yourself?
I think it's up to...
Speaker John Bercow, should he consider his position?
Well, I don't know what the circumstances are, and as ever, on individual situations, I would...
Let's have a look at the sport. Jackie's here. Hi, Jackie. Thank you very much. Now, my next guest may be a Michelin-starred chef, but that doesn't mean that he always knows, that actually, I'm not even going to read that link because it doesn't make any sense. Let's talk to Michelle, the French Revolution. Michelle, good morning, nice to see you.
It is. I mean, most people, when you ask them to describe what French cuisine is, they'll say it's rich, it's heavy,
Is it difficult? Because as soon as I hear the words Michelin-starred chef, I feel very inferior, obviously. My cooking ability is limited. How accessible is it? Because you do think of French food being quite fancy, taking a long time to prepare.
in French means fast food.
Sounds so much better in French.
But then it's you know, we've got a chapter on that. We've got a chapter on legumes, vegetables.
Take on the sort of movement towards clean eating and veganism at the moment. Everybody's being, you do think of calorie-rich foods.
Yes, but yeah. You know, it's about a balanced diet, and I think this book is very much about the balanced diet as well. It's not a diet book, but and it's not, you know, ramming down healthy eating.
It's all incorporated in that, because you didn't actually grow up in France, did you? You were born in Britain and you went to terms of, I'm sure it would have been a packet of crisps and a sandwich.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, because I had stinky cheese, camembert, garlic sausage, things like that, you know.
Probably you couldn't have not had like a gastronomy feast in your lunchbox. Talk to me briefly about Brexit. We talk about it every morning here on Sunrise because it is a pressing issue. We're approaching crunch time, as we're told. Brexit in the hospitality industry, is that worrying you at the moment? You have several restaurants and employ a lot of people. Well, Michelle Regina, thank you so much for coming in to talk to us. Going to take a look at the weather now. Nazanin is here. Hi, Naz. Welcome back to Sunrise here on Sky News. Just to tell you what's on the way, we will be looking... That's coming up, news@sky.com, to have your say this morning. I just want to alert you to a tweet that's been put out by the head of the Women and Equalities Committee, Maria Miller. This is in response to that damning report that's come out into the culture of bullying and sexism in Westminster. Maria Miller has said this: I have asked the Speaker for an urgent question in the House of Commons today on the recommendation in Dame Laura Cox's report. Inaction risks undermining the legitimacy of the House of Commons, and staff deserve to know what action is being taken. So that's Maria Miller there asking for an urgent question in the House of Commons today following that report from Dame Laura Cox into the culture at Westminster. More on that as we get it here on Sunrise. Now, the National Cyber Security Centre has warned that cyber attacks in the UK have increased dramatically, and they say it's almost inevitable that the country will be hit by a life-threatening incident. Let's speak to our technology correspondent Roland Manthorpe about this. He is in central London. So this is an interesting development. The cyber crime agency saying they're fending off about 10 attacks a week. Roland, just how worried should we be by what's been revealed?
Sorry, I didn't quite hear the question. But if you're asking whether we should be scared, I think maybe not scared, but...
Today about cyber crime and potential attacks here in the UK. Stay with us here on Sunrise, because coming up after the break, we'll take a look through today's newspapers. Michelle G-Reed and Andy Walton are standing by. That's in a couple of minutes. Time to take a look through Tuesday's papers. Michelle G-Reed and Andy Walton are here. Michelle, we're going to kick off with a story in The Times. The hate preacher Anjem Choudhury due to be released from prison this week. A lot of details are coming out about exactly what will happen after his release.
Yeah. The reason is, and this is equally unpalatable to me, I'm not sticking up for him at all, but he's a British citizen. He was born in the UK. So
shouldn't be releasing him, to your point again. Halfway through his sentence, genuinely dangerous threat to us. Like, what?
He said that he would pose a genuinely dangerous threat to the public on his release. A lot of people asking questions about that this morning, not just Michelle. Front page of The Times, Andy. Maria Miller, we're told, has asked to ask an urgent question in the House about this report into the culture of Westminster that's uncovered bullying and sexism.
I sneakily suspect that Speaker Bercow may not be in the chair for this particular...
But in itself, that will...
She is excoriating in her criticism of the House of Commons. The current senior House administration...
World. They'll work for free, they'll do all sorts of things. So it's a very vulnerable place that people put themselves in.
Michelle, let's talk about the story in the Daily Mail. The Chancellor eyeing a tax raid on school fees to bring in £1.5 billion a year. This is interesting, given that Institute for Fiscal Studies report that showed that even though the Prime Minister said austerity is over, actually the government are going to have to come up with £19 billion a year for that to make it a reality.
You have to pay on,
Exactly.
you know, many other products, services, whatever.
Why are they allowed to be charity? That's my question. Like, I just don't understand why a business, which is...
Can't answer that.
I just don't think there's a good... Well, I don't think there's a good reason for
Well,
it.
if anyone can, use Sky.com, please.
Yeah, if you know the answer, tell us.
Let's talk about easing asylum seeker work limits, which could add £42 million to the UK economy, Andy.
Yeah, so this is people who also got works harder than I do, and lots of other people I know, while he's waiting for his claim. I would
But
absolutely
then
support
as
this.
an employer, you need to make sure that your workforce... The answer is no.
Yeah, but that's a different issue. These are people who are in the system, they've made an application. OK.
We'll be here all day, I
We will.
To disagree, yeah. Let's move on to have a look at the back pages. Jackie's found a really interesting story, actually in the health section. It's about Johnny Wilkinson and mental health. Not much for my anxiety this morning, I must admit. Yeah, go and sort out Jackie. We'll continue with this. OK, she's back. Here she is.
Got me now?
Yeah. Here's a microphone I switched on earlier. Let's talk about Blue Peter at 60.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember Shep and I wasn't even here.
It was like part of our family. Particularly, I didn't have a dog.
A kind of a nasty end, do you not remember?
He was dug up, wasn't he?
Yes.
When they were looking for it for, yeah.
I don't remember. I just remember the tortoise. I didn't know the... I was trying to end on a happy note as well. You lot have just ruined it for me.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Michelle, Andy, thank you very much for your company this morning. We are going to take a look at the weather now for the day ahead. Nazanin has the details for you.